What's up? It's Dave and Duncan back from Metal Epidemic for another album review. And for this review, Duncan and I have been checking out the new album from blackened metal trio Johnny the Boy. The band's new album, You, will be released on June 9th via Season of Mist. Okay, so born from a simple idea and eventually coalescing over the last couple of years into a fully formed entity, Johnny the Boy make music that hurts. Armed with a scabrous but sculpted blend of ice-cold black metal, excoriating sludge, and sinewy white-knuckle rock and roll,
I love everything that's happening right now.
Trio's musical identity has arrived, perfectly imperfect and ready to eviscerate. Formed around a creative core of vocalist Belinda Cordick, guitarist Justin Greaves, both members of Crippled Black Phoenix, and bassist Matt Crawford, who is the live bassist for Crippled Black Phoenix. Johnny the Boy began life as an instinctive grab for something darker and nastier. It began at a rehearsal with Crippled Black Phoenix many years ago, says Greaves. We were rehearsing down at Arthur's where CBP used to practice, and it was during one of those rehearsals I just got on guitar, someone else got on the drums, and we were just fart-arsing about. Linda doing her necro vocals. Then we posted a little clip online and people started asking, oh, is this legit? Like always, it took fucking years to even think about doing anything, but it was always going to happen. In the background, there's the fact that in this first band I was ever in, I sang that way, adds Belinda. I really missed doing that. We both missed that whole Iron Monkey, Varukers aggressive side of music. That was the first way of singing that I loved, and I missed doing it, so we always wanted to do this. Okay, here's something interesting I did not know.
Oh, Dave's like bringing out the factoids.
Little nugget. One of the songs from the initial batch of Johnny the Boy material was a track called No Regrets, a caustic blast of blackened fury that was mischievously planted at the very end of Crippled Black Phoenix's acclaimed 2022 album Banefire, almost as a clandestine warning of the darkness to come, Duncan.
We did comment on that when we reviewed that out of fucking nowhere there was just this blackened song that we couldn't quite get our... We loved it, but we couldn't quite get our head around why it was there.
That track was Justin's idea. When we recorded Banefire, he said, why not sneak in and record a Johnny the Boy track, says Cordick. We did that and No Regrets went on the album. And then Michael at Season of Mist said he wanted a whole album from us. Yes. No Regrets played two roles at the same time, says Greaves. It was something pretty outlandish at the end of a CBP album to give everyone a kick in the bollocks, but it was also our way of saying we do this other thing, by the way. The album was recorded at Chapel Studios in the UK, with vocals done at Capsulin Studio in Sweden, then mixed by Kurt Ballou at God City Studio, and then mastered by Magnus Lindberg in Stockholm, Sweden. Oof, fuck.
I kind of feel like dropping in that, that gif of Justin Timberlake going, stop it.
But this has kind of been on our radar for a little while. We were kind of maybe...
There's a synchronicity to our reviewing tonight in that we've already mentioned an interview in a previous recording with a particular individual who fronts a black gaze band, talking about Crippled Black Phoenix because it was at the Crippled Black Phoenix tour, and they may have just off the cuff mentioned that there was a recording out there, Dave, with something a little bit black metal-y.
So that definitely piqued our interest, and then out of nowhere enter Johnny the Boy. Firstly, before we get into the review, I just want to mention this just now because I feel like there's a previous album review out there from a couple of years back where there was a certain film that we didn't reference during that review, and I feel like we should mention it on this review just in case.
Did you just feel that, like, the need to wear a certain t-shirt in solidarity with that?
Maybe.
Is this you paying penance? I don't think... I can't see Belinda jumping on YouTube and writing a comment saying, I can't believe he didn't get that reference. I may be wrong. Like,
No, I don't
the floor
think
is yours, Dave.
I don't think they have any assholes in this band.
Yeah,
Dino, I'm looking at you.
So we're just like totally throwing it on this one. Dino Kazars, if you're listening to this, why? And two, Dave's desperately trying to get me to go and see your band play, and I don't want to.
I don't know. I'm on the fence. I don't
Let's
know.
get off the fence. Let's just put up a bigger fence.
Yeah. So,
come on,
Johnny the Boy. So it is a Mad Max reference.
Yes.
And there's a sample on the first track at the start and at the end from Mad Max. So just wanted to slide that in there because we didn't mention that on a certain Fear Factory review, and we got hate from Dino because we never picked up on it. So
Dino Kazars, famed fan of Mad Max, all through every Fear. Well, no, it's not. There we go. Anyway, let's not waste the time here on that.
Johnny the Boy. Duncan, what did you think of this debut from Johnny the Boy?
So we're very high on Banefire, right? Which does sound like a designer drug. I'll tell you, do a wee bit Banefire then. We were very high on it. I thought the thing about it is difficult to, although we will very quickly separate the two projects. Crippled Black Phoenix are the established band, and they're a band that show many strings to their bow. There is, like, the experiment and play in a lot of different circles of music and blend it seamlessly. But they're working with an eclectic group of incredible musicians who are, once you've seen the live show, you understand that it shouldn't work, but it does. But we did make a comment on a review on a black metal sounding track that there was a tone in that was really, really interesting. And it did kind of make you wonder, what if?
Yeah.
It's not often that you only wait, 8 months, 9 months, and you get the answer to that what if.
Yeah.
Generally, you have to wait until the band does another album and either gives you the answer to that question or never touches it again. And I kind of feel like Johnny the Boy scratches the itch that question gave us, whilst not falling into the trap that would have been obvious. Like, this does play in the pool of No Regrets, but it doesn't at the same time. It's not just an album of No Regrets. It isn't. There's still quite a bit of Crippled Black Phoenix in here, specifically in the elements that are kind of more kind of 90s rock, or even to an extent 70s doom. It captures those moments and it brings it through. And now, we mentioned how much we loved Belinda's vocals before, and I just want to go on record again as saying she's fucking awesome. Specifically in this, there must just be something like the school system in Sweden must be like maths, English, black metal vocals before you go away and do home ec. It does kind of feel like, because they do it really, really well over there. She doesn't feel like she's stretching here, and it's fucking savage. Like, her vocals could peel wallpaper off a wall. It's just that tone that just sits brilliant. And you know what's great about it? It's produced well. So, don't know. There we are. Just imagine how all these bad black metal bands would sound if someone produced their music well. Shots fired in every direction. No black metal band or Fear Factory safe. What I loved about this, and I want to stress, there's a whole lot to love on this, Dave. There we are, to a shot. What I loved about this is that it captures the sensibilities of the other band's output, and that you kind of feel like every song's telling a story or painting a picture. And you get that here. Some tracks get to the point very, very, very quick and deliver things. Track Grime, which is the second track in there, has like clean kind of breathy vocals at the start before hitting you with that kind of savage black metal Belinda vocals. But the guitars underneath are not black metal at all. If anything, they're kind of doomy rock. There's even sections where the lead guitar work kind of reminded me of kind of early 90s era Marilyn Manson. It just has that tone of kind of Portrait of an American Family. And it works. It's really, really, really cool and really, really Moorish. But it's not as if that's all you get from them, like blackened inflections on the vocals. When you get to a track like Crossings, for example, even though the guitars aren't like fully fucking shredding a black metal kind of riff, they're actually playing a slow doom groove, but with blackened chords. And it works so well. It's nice and polished, and the savage vocals over the top, and it paints atmosphere, and you get that feeling of kind of fog on the fjord, which is the name of my folk band coming next year. You hear that, Crippled Black Phoenix and Johnny the Boy? Fog on the fjord. You can have that if you want, but it feels like it's rolling over and it's impending, and there's ominosity there. Don't even know if ominosity is a word, but it should be. It has this ominous vibe about it, weighty and awesome. Just in general, fucking awesome. The album is so multifaceted though that it makes it a compelling listen. It's the same reason the stuff that they did on Banefire for me was such a compelling listen, is that whenever you feel like you have a hook on what you're going to get, they kind of switch things up and really kind of like take their time labouring an idea or expanding it out to the point where you kind of feel like you've had your fill of it before switching things on. It's not just a one-trick pony. Crossings is the longest track on here at a measly 8 minutes. I laugh because, Triple Black Phoenix will go longer if they need to. But it's awesome. It's full of tricks and quirk that veteran musicians bring to a project. There's just a confidence about it that I just felt like every turn there was a safe pair of hands kind of taking me along with what they were doing. Now, there's also a little bit of punk in here as well. And once again, that doesn't surprise me. It's the spin they put on it that makes it refreshing. Dra, which is my new kind of Nordic kind of way of slapping down someone when they point out something painfully obvious. Dra. Has like this kind of savagely sharp kind of punk mentality. It's nice and short. It's under 3 minutes. And it has, once again, Belinda doing what she is great at doing. She's got an incredible singing voice as well, and I think it's easy to sleep on how great this is from what you may have experienced from her before. It just works on this one. She's given the opportunity to do it. It's got stoner riffs, it's got sludgy riffs, it's got doom riffs, it's got blackened tinges. It hits you with rock. It hits you with, like I say, like sways of atmosphere. And never at any point did I lose respect for it. That makes sense. I think it's like an incredibly well crafted album, and I don't even know why I'm surprised at that. It's also not what I was expecting. This does feel like a blackened Crippled Black Phoenix in part, but it also does feel entirely like its own entity. Like something that doesn't feel like it goes to show how talented the writers of the music are, to be honest with you, because it's very easy to have an idea or fuck around on the guitars in a practice room, but to be able to birth a fully realised standalone entity that exists comfortably within its own. Like I would go to a Johnny the Boy gig. Like, you know what I mean? You wouldn't have to stretch or twist my arm to do that. I would go and see it on its own merits, not because no, the guys in this band are in a if none of the guys in this band did anything else except this, it's still a fucking great album. I kind of feel like I'm underselling it, but at the same time, I'm kind of in a position where I'm like, this doesn't feel. Had this been bad, I would have been shocked. I kind of just expected it to be great from the off, and it fucking is.
Mm.
As experiments and other ideas go, I mean, it ticks all the boxes. I don't want a black metal project from the band. I want them to do what they're doing here.
Yeah.
We say about it all the time, I'm not a big black metal fan, but when you take the best elements of that and you put it over something else, I think that's where the genre shines. And that's what they've done here. Yeah. It's taken aesthetic ideas, tone and texture, and then bringing it over to another soundscape entirely and just making it the central point without being the overwhelming point. So You by Johnny the Boy it's fucking great. So I had a ball with this one. I had an absolute ball with it, and I imagine you will too. I can't imagine you're going to come in here and shit all over this. So what did you make of it?
I'd heard the first single.
I'd only heard one single and then I stopped at that point.
Yeah, which was the 8-minute track. It was the first single. Here you go.
Here you go.
And I was like, all right, okay, this is different to Crippled Black Phoenix. And I suppose like after hearing that single, I was like, right, okay, this is going to be something different. So I wasn't expecting like another Banefire. I'm the same. I don't really like often connect massively with black metal albums. So I was kind of like, I wasn't like expecting to fall head over heels for this. I was like, okay, right, this could be enjoyable. Maybe not my genre, but we'll give it a shot. But when I stuck the album on, I was like, okay, so there's more than meets the eye with this.
Although Transformers.
Yes, kind of. Although black metal is a kind of integral part of this, they balance it out fairly evenly. With a whole load of other styles. Like you mentioned, there's a bit of doom, a bit of sludge, a bit of kind of crusty punk in there as well. Yeah. So as someone who isn't the biggest kind of out and out black metal fan, the infusion of styles on here totally worked for me. And the one thing that kind of note is, even though this is like kind of heavily blackened, it's not played at breakneck speeds. This is like... This doesn't have
I never even mentioned that. Yeah, there's not a blast beat in sight.
No, this doesn't have the tempo of a black metal album. This is the tempo of a sludge or a doom album. There's a couple of small flurries of blasts or that kind of blackened punk that brings the pace up, but for the most part, not a black metal paced album in terms of the tempo. But being that it's like 3 members of Crippled Black Phoenix, it's, as you said, it's not surprising that this is very well put together for a debut album. Belinda and Justin have been playing together for over 10 years in Crippled Black Phoenix, and it shows. Like that, this doesn't sound like their first time at the barbecue. Like this sounds well oiled. The tracks are crafted to kind of deliver a wide range of styles and dynamics, but giving you a good amount of kind of blackened melody in there as well. So it never becomes too much of the same at any point. I kind of love the mix of song lengths on this. Some are, like you say, super short. So you've got like Druh and Wired, where they really let that kind of gnarly, kind of black infused punk side out. I also
they're carefully placed as well because they come right off the back of.
Yeah, well, I really like the fact they were placed back to back as well.
Yes.
Like instead of doing, they could have done like the predictable fast song, couple of slow songs, back to a fast song. They didn't. They're like, nah, you get the two of them together. And the 2 tracks are still distinctive enough in tone and tempo that you can separate them though. Like they have their own personality, but the impact of having them together is fucking awesome. You've also got a really good handful of kind of longer, kind of slightly more slower burn tracks, where they give you more mood and this kind of grimy misery with sludge and doom.
I see what you did there, grimy Dave.
I'll get to that. There are some moments, as you say, that you'll hear Crippled Black Phoenix, that character coming through. I could hear it in the lead work on Die Already and on He Moves as well. But I'd say for the most part, this does sound like its own thing. Yep. I don't think you'd necessarily link the 2 bands together. If you never knew who was involved in Johnny the Boy, I don't think you'd be like, oh, that's, members of Crippled Black Phoenix. I don't think you'd pick up on that at all. So I think they've done really well at keeping the two bands separate while still giving like a little nod here and there to that previous or that other band. And I think the guitar work in particular is fucking awesome. I think he's
such an underrated guitarist, honestly.
It's ferocious and hostile when it needs to be, but then there's this like kind of ghostly melody on this that really, really captures your attention on it. I love how they kind of interweave these like cleaner, like ethereal elements of lead work with those bleak riffs. I think they complemented each other perfectly. Same can be said for the vocals from Belinda. I think when I was listening to the album, they work in a similar fashion to the guitars in that they give you moments of pure venom where she just sounds menacing. Her vocals on this are incredible. The tone is just visceral at times and very much kind of situated within that black metal realm, but it also works really well against that doomy, more sludgy tone of the album.
We keep mentioning this. It's just like more bands should do this.
Yep.
Like just if you can. The thing about like Belinda is, right, she's like, there are vocalists out there that would fucking kill to be able to sound like that. And she's just had that in the pocket for a while. You know what I mean? I used to sound like that in a band 10 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
Just dusted it off. Sins fucking savage. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you've also got like this other side to her voice that channels something much more kind of pure and kind of graceful. It's very haunting for the most part. But when you integrate it with those more savage parts, the kind of marriage of the two styles is just phenomenal on this. There were moments on Endlessly Senseless where she's switching seamlessly between styles, and it's chilling to listen to. I thought her voice is a real highlight on this album. Speaking of highlights, segue, there were a few tracks on this album that absolutely set my church on fire, Duncan. The first track being the
we need to start a t-shirt company, right? We need to. In fact, there's too many lines that are coming out these recordings.
The first single, Crossings, I thought I really enjoyed Crossings when I heard it on its own, but then when I heard it on the album, in the context of the album, I thought it worked even more.
Its placement's perfect.
Yeah, the placement in the middle of the album is spot on. It's like a set piece in the middle of that album, the way it kind of like sprawls over that kind of 7-minute runtime, and it really, that length, it really allows it to get its kind of hooks into you. It's got a really cool bouncing rhythm. There's these like fantastic bursts of black metal throughout and just absolutely stunning vocals. There's these kind of like expansive, kind of clean vocals towards the end. They're fantastic as well, and it's great to hear Justin behind the kit again. Like he was the drummer in Iron Monkey like many years ago, but he's got a real like natural feel to his playing. But he's got the skills where he can just throw in like a little blast beat here and there, or some nice kind of intricate fills. Like he's actually a really good drummer. Grime is a favourite of mine. I love this track. The vocals are razor sharp. Like they had this like kind of devilish quality about them. Like
I would peel paper off the wall. Honestly, it's
like acidic, like a very acidic kind of
vinegar
tone.
In an open wound.
Yeah, like, and then you've got these guitars that have got this really melancholic kind of melody behind them with a sludgy rhythm, and it just keeps pulling you in. And it'll keep you there for its entirety. Wired was the other one that I really enjoyed. Just the ferocity of it. It's punky. It's foot to the floor even. The guitars have this real like furious kind of strumming rhythm to them, and Belinda sounds just like fully charged up on it, just like spitting fire for the whole track. I loved it. The closing track is really good as well. Without You. It has this more kind of emotional streak to it. It's about losing someone, or like losing a pet in this case, and I totally got it. Like when I was reading the lyrics when I was listening to it, and like people who have lost pets, it's like losing part of the family. So I could kind of relate to that when I was sitting reading through the lyrics. Musically, it's paired really well with the lyrics. It's giving you like equal amounts of emotion and this doomy heaviness behind it. Great track to close the album and kind of leave you to, with something to think about as well. The production, like as you'd expect, with a list of names like that attached to it, like this was never going to be a bad production. Very similar to Banefire, and it's very organic, very pleasing on the ear. Nothing feels overcooked or heavily edited. The instruments just come across very natural sounding. I love the kind of atmosphere and the guitars. The guitar, it reminded me of like a post-punk album in some ways, just how spacious the lead work was. But vocally, I think, is where a lot of the magic happens. I think the tone that they've managed to capture in the recording is just unbelievable. It will grab you instantly. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I think it's really well done. And for someone like myself that's like not the biggest, like black metal is not my go-to, but I do enjoy when it's crossed over with different styles, and there's loads of variance in style here. Lots of subtle melody in there as well to kind of pull in fans of all different styles that they incorporate on this. It has the kind of nuance and the intelligence of a Crippled Black Phoenix album, but with way more darkness and kind of raw energy to it. So I agree. I'd love to see this live. I think there's a great selection of songs here that would balance out a set list with everything that you'd want. So I would 100%.
Also, you've got to imagine easier to tour this than it is Crippled Black Phoenix. With their like fucking 9 members on stage. So yeah,
100%.
You would imagine that this one's more likely.
Ratings for You by Johnny the Boy. What are you thinking?
So I've been struggling with this. Dave.
Oh right, okay.
This has been a cross that I've been carrying on my back. Or if you're a fan of the movie Django, not the Django you're thinking about, the original Django, a coffin that I have been carrying from town to town, dragging my own coffin with me. I've been toying between a 4.5 and a 5. And I'll tell you why I'm landing with a 5, right?
Okay.
Because I listened to this for about the 7th time just before we started recording. So basically what I was doing while I was bathing my daughter. Juxtaposing serene, happy memories with savage black metal. And I was thinking, like, I gave Crippled Black Phoenix a 5, right? I loved that, right? And I love this as much as that.
Yeah.
So that's like I have thought about where I might want to pick it at a bit too much, and I can't really. I think for what it sets out to achieve, it more than achieves. It exceeded any expectations that I had coming into it.
Yeah.
I kind of thought we were just going to get the last track from Crippled Black Phoenix, and I'm quite happy we don't. I like it in context with it. It stands out as remarkable on that album because nothing else sounds like that. Everything stands out as remarkable on this recording because of the way it's written.
Yeah.
A lot of that, once again, you mentioned a lot of that's to do with the production. But yeah, just to confirm, so the little graphic can go up. 5. Yeah, I think this. I think this is as good a project could be that wants to incorporate the best of what they do in the other world with the stuff that they wanted to achieve in this world. I think mission accomplished. Yeah. As for them, yeah, it's 5. Yeah, there's not a thing in here that I don't like.
Funnily, you should say that. When I was listening to the album, I was really enjoying it. I was like, this is an easy 4.5 for me. Like, this is like, you don't have to think about it. 4.5. I was like, the only thing that maybe that I wasn't getting from the album was that kind of like moment when I was like, wow, that's like really profound, really hard hitting. And then the last track came on and I was like, there it is. That's what I was waiting on. That's exactly what I wanted. And it kind of ticked the last box that I had for it to be ticked. And I feel like it has that allure that I'm just going to want to keep coming back to this album over and over again. It's very easy to fly through, like at 40 minutes or something like that. You can give this repeat spins easily without becoming exhausted by it.
This could be my King Woman this year.
Yes, yeah,
like
very
I
much so.
Spun that album to fucking death.
Yeah,
where it was just like a go-to. It was just like, it was easy just to shove on and listen to it, and it gave me so much in the way of a listener. I think this could be that for me this year. That I very much like I said, I could see me revisiting this fucking loads.
Yep. So it's a 5 from me. I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Like sweeties this year,
yeah,
honestly.
I know. Every week.
It's going to be more. We're going to be able to recount the albums that we didn't give 5s to this year over the ones we have given 5s to this year. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything to fault on it at all, and I thought about it. I was like, is there anything here that I would say is a negative? And I couldn't find it. For me, anyway, personally, it's a 5. I really enjoyed this.
Also, these people now, it does make you wonder if there's anything they can't do.
I know.
Like, see if tomorrow like that we're starting a bluegrass project, I would listen to it. They have me there.
Yeah. Johnny the Boy, their new album You is out on June 9th via Season of Mist. Links below to the band, to the Bandcamp pre-order. Check it out, have a listen. There's a few singles out already. Let us know what you think. That is a review. Thank you for checking it out. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.